Blink 1 Lid H2, I think I've said that right. Who do you plan to interview in the near future? Well, I am interviewing the singer from a band local to me in Weybridge who are reasonably big. They've played with All Time Low recently, if that's a bit of a clue there. I don't want to do an interview with him about music. I want to keep it kind of a bit more deep and find out things about him that he's not usually asked, and hopefully that will be another inspiring interview for you guys. I've got Anastasia that a lot of you requested on my Instagram, so I'm going to interview her in a few weeks once she's moved into a new pad. But this year my dream would be to interview Chino Marino of Deftones. He's been on the list for a while, and I really hope this is the year I manage to, you know, track him down and secure that slot with him, so fingers crossed for that. If you've got any ideas for interviews or people you'd love to see, please comment below. It's KYZP. Hello. Do you plan on getting any tattoos? Well, I have got tattoos already, but not the obvious kind. A few years ago, when I was doing a lot of reviews for a site called Stylebible, I was asked to review permanent makeup tattooing. So they gave me a free treatment which would give me tattooed eyeliner. I thought, of course I'm going to say yes to that. It's a really expensive treatment. I'm getting it for free. Why not? Because I wear eyeliner every day. Unfortunately, I had a nasty allergic reaction and it went really wrong. And that, because of the result of that, and because of how I reacted to that, that's made me not feel I can get any other tattoos, because if I get a big one, I'm really worried something drastically bad will happen. I seem to be very sensitive to everything, so I think that's just another allergy to my long list of allergies, unfortunately, because I really do love tattoos. But hey ho, it's not the end of the world. Philip Pearson, what would you say is the proudest moment in your life, be it work related or personal? That's a pretty big question, Philip. I'd say, in terms of kind of work related, getting a first in my degree in fine art meant an incredible amount to me, because one, I worked really hard, loads of hours, but two, uni, a lot of bad stuff happened while I was at uni, and the fact that I was still able to, you know, overcome them and get a degree and a good mark in the degree meant so much to me, because I was really worried that the things that happened to me would really affect the outcome of my 3 years at uni, so that meant a hell of a lot to me. Oh, sorry, getting a bit emotional. Also, when I worked at Alexander McQueen before he died, I created some artwork, and that ended up on a dress that was worn by Kate Blanchett in Cannes Film Festival, and it was handpicked by Alexander McQueen himself, so that meant an incredible amount to me, because that job, you know, it was as tough as it gets, but I was so pleased I was able to do it. Unfortunately, I had to give it up because of my health, but just having that as a kind of memento of my time there meant an incredible amount. On a personal level, I'd say walking out on an abusive and very toxic relationship, and getting to a point where I don't allow it to affect my future decisions. You know, for a period of time you're very bitter, and you don't really want to accept people into your life, and particularly in a romantic and loving way. But I got past that, and I've had an amazing relationship since then. I think on the whole it doesn't creep in and affect anything too much anymore, so I'm quite proud of that. You know, it just shows that you can get past these horrible things in your life and things can be a lot better. Rebecca D, have you ever received advice or seen something that has changed the way you look at life? I'd say rather than, you know, inspirational quotes and things like that, it's watching others and how they deal with, you know, turbulent times and difficulties that make me look at how I am coping with my own problems and reassess, you know, things. And also I find films have a huge impact on how I'm coping and thinking about things. I get terribly moved by films, and that's what I look for from a film. I want to feel something, and I find, like, for example, The Theory of Everything, it puts things into perspective when you see what Stephen Hawking and his wife Jane had to go through. It puts into perspective what you are coping with every day. Never Let Me Go changed how I look at, you know, the freedom I have and the life I'm allowed to have, and, you know, my approach to relationships. You know, all sorts of films have an impact for whatever reason. I say, yeah, films like that, and documentaries. I must say that watching documentaries is something I would advise everyone to do. It's obviously, you're getting knowledge from them, but also they're incredibly moving a lot of the times, and you come away with something rather than, you know, these frivolous shows where you don't really learn anything from them. I watched Happy recently, which is a documentary that just, you know, looks around the world at what actually genuinely makes people happy, and you find that, you know, it's not having excess amount of money and possessions. It's about, you know, helping others, relationships, achieving goals, all that sort of thing. But I won't ruin it for you. I would recommend watching that. Paint It Black XO. Hi, you've sent me quite a lengthy one, which I like, but there's quite a few things in there. So would love to know the following. How did you get into music journalism? Well, as you know, I did a fine art degree, realised that I couldn't really make a career out of that. Well, not very easily anyway. So then I went into the fashion world and did that for a bit. And then I became quite ill and was at home a lot in bed, but still wanted to keep busy because that's just the way I am. So I thought, what can I do when I'm at home? I can write for online things. So just started, you know, writing to as many online magazines as possible and saying, will you give me a chance? I'll write this. Obviously it was unpaid work, but you build a portfolio. And just one thing led to another, really. But that's how I started with that. Who are your favourite bands, artists? I think I answered that already, but let's think. At the moment I'm listening to a lot of Marmosettes, Deftones, Lonely the Brave, as I said, film scores. God, the mind goes blank when you're asked. I'll give that more thought. What do you think is the biggest misconception about working in the music industry? One, that you earn a decent amount of money. On the whole, we are earning nothing or very little. You have to just really love it, or, you know, have that hope that it will lead to something more fruitful in the finance department. I think the other misconception is that it's glamorous. It's not really glamorous at all. Like when you go backstage to do these interviews, they're very grimy, not very you know, swish backstage areas. You often have to wait in the cold. Sometimes the bands are late and you're waiting for ages, and then you're stressing out because you've got another interview scheduled that you're not going to make. It's basically, my life is me running around London with a heavy bag filled with all my camera equipment and my tripod. So it can be quite lonely for me working on my own because I don't have a crew, I don't have colleagues, I'm an independent kind of journalist. But I imagine if you're in an office it's quite nice because you've got all your colleagues and the office banter and all that sort of stuff. What do you hope to have achieved by the end of the year? Just, I guess, to grow my channel. It'd be nice if I could have an audience and feel like the effort I put into creating the content is worthwhile, because when you spend quite a lot of your time, you know, creating and doing these interviews and then not many people are watching it, sometimes it can get you down. So it'd be nice if, you know, I had a big audience to, you know, view the work that I do. The long-term goal is I'd love more music to be on television. I don't mean like music channels, I mean proper shows. You know, most interests have a good amount of content. You have gardening shows, you have DIY shows, you even have art shows, but there's not many for music, and particularly rock music on mainstream telly. So I'd love to do something to bring that forward and to make that happen, and particularly to see women involved in it, because I think it's all too easy for, you know, the producers to think, okay, we need a male guy to do a rock show because it just seems the obvious thing, but you know, we like it as well.